Hello everybody, my name's Anthony. I work in the furniture department here, custom barn doors, furniture, kitchen tables, built-ins, stuff like that. Everything to make your tiny dreams come true. Here's one of 4 barn doors in the house that we just completed. This is on an all alder construction. There's no mechanical fasteners in it, kind of a labor of love. It's about 30 steps to get to this point. All right, so how this process kind of begins is I'll measure the rough opening of the doorway. We'll select a good material. We'll source that locally if we can. And then kind of it's just understand the material as itself, embrace some odd characteristics, doing some rough cutting to length with our raw material. At that point, I'll go ahead and I'll plane the material to thickness, which just gets off the rough sawn finish from the lumber mill. I'll do that on both sides, at which point I'll go and I'll straight line one edge, which is basically running the material through a machine called a jointer, which gives me a good 90-degree side to begin with. From there, I can cut the material down to width using the table saw. A lot of sanding. Cut to a semi-final length. At that point, I'll actually change out the blade on the table saw to something called a dado stack. And so what I'm going to do there is I'm going to cut channels around the frame that are going to accept the field material. The field material is basically this internal section. So what I'll do with these guys, same process. Cut it, mill it to thickness, sand it up, and then I'll actually cut a tongue and groove type of thing on it with a router bit, or rather a series of router bits, so they lock in together. Again, I'm not using any mechanical fasteners here. It's all just good old-fashioned woodworking. From there, we'll have to do something called a stop dado, so we're not exposing the joinery on the outside edge. Then we'll go back and I'll clean that up with a chisel or a handheld router to make sure everything's got a nice good pressure fit. When I do the tongue and groove, I'll cut it oversized and I'll actually trace the frame down onto it. Add a little bit here and there so I get a nice tight fit. And then all those pieces are cut individually and fit back into place. Once I have everything kind of dry fit together, which is a process about 2 or 3 different times to make sure it's all got that perfect fit, I'll start adding glue and the dominoes that are cut to size. We use a Domino XL to fasten everything together for this type of connection. The domino is basically a floating mortise and tenon. So basically you take a little block of wood and it glues into the pockets that I've made. And then I'll just pressure all that in and we'll leave it clamped in overnight. If everything goes well, the door will be nice and square, nice and flat, and ready for sanding, rounding over, and finish the next day. That whole process can take from a day to several days, depending on how many doors we're doing. In this house, we did 4, so it was about a 4 or 5 day process in total, and I think they turned out great. That's about it. Custom built to order every time. Thanks for watching. Again, I'm Anthony Norris. This is Trueform Tiny with a little how-to for custom barn doors.